hello to everyone who's watching the recording after the fact. It's great to have you here as well. And so with that, I'm going to pass it off to Katie, and I will pop back on the end to do some wrap up and next steps. So Katie, take it away.
Thank you. Okay, I'm just going to share my screen with you all. And if you can just let me know in the chat that you can see that, just a few of you just give me a thumbs up or a yes. And then we can. Thank you, Katie, for your reassurance. Thanks, Daryl. Great, fabulous, fabulous. You can all see this. Okay, breaking news. Here we go. Google have just announced plans to lay off 12,000 people. Microsoft is laying off 10,000 people. Amazon is looking to hit 18,000 layoffs by the end of this year. Meta, Stripe, Lyft, Twitter, Wayfair, and thousands of others all making huge, huge cuts. Is it the end of the world? Well, it's not even close. Things are still good. But we can't escape the consequences of the last 2 or 3 years. We have not yet, and I'm sure you would all agree, we have not yet paid for the past 2 or 3 years. And we can't do what we did pre-COVID, as I like to call it, and expect different results. But are you ready? And if you aren't ready, you still have time to prepare. It's never, ever, ever too late in your business to course correct. It does get harder the longer that you wait, but you're never really stuck forever. This year will have challenges. I'm sure you've all come out of the back of COVID-19 and the pandemic and faced huge challenges. This year's going to have challenges. Every year has challenges. But I hope you agree, where there is chaos, there is always some opportunity. So welcome to How to Recession-Proof Your Clinic in 7 steps. And these are my 7 steps. And I could have probably chosen 10, 15, 20 things. But when I was breaking it down, these are I think, the kind of most important things that I wanted you to focus on. And there's nothing that's kind of, you can't Google, you can't research. I'm not going to teach you anything to reinvent the wheel here. But hopefully some of this will act as a reminder, even if you just take on board 1 or 2 things that you're going to take forwards into your clinic from this evening's or today's talk. I forget that it's your morning time, from today's talk, and really make sure that you are going to be here at the end of 2023, and you're not just going to survive, but you are going to thrive as we move forwards. So first of all, who am I? It's not that important, and you're not here to know about this, but very, very quickly, just so you know that I am somebody that is worth listening to for the next 45 minutes. As Destin said, my name is Katie Bell. I'm a physiotherapist by trade. You've probably guessed already that I'm based in the UK, in the north. That probably means nothing to you, but in the mighty Sheffield. And I am a CEO of a physiotherapy and wellness clinic over in the UK. I have a big team of 28. We have a multi-6-figure turnover. And I want you to know that I share a lot of the challenges that you are seeing too, okay? My time is very much dedicated to supporting people like you, business owners in the health and wellness industry, who absolutely love what they do, but want more time, they want more income, they want more freedom, and they want a business that serves them rather than starves them. But I do come with a warning. I offer very, very bold, no-nonsense advice and coaching, and I will definitely occasionally swear. So I apologise about that now. I will try and hold back, but the more passionate and the more I get stuck into this, it just slips out. So I am very passionate about what we do and how we deliver our coaching. I want you to leave this presentation feeling motivated, that things are good, things are still good, and feel inspired to go and put some of these tips into your clinic. So let's clear a few things up first of all. Recessions are a really normal part of a business cycle. Now, I'm not an economist, I'm not somebody that knows a huge amount, but I listen to a lot, I read a lot, and recessions are a really normal part of a business cycle. We've had them before, we will have them again, and we will come out the other side of this. But the media are, I'm sure it's the same in the US and in Canada and across Europe, but the media in the UK are tremendous at really kind of riling us up into this fear-based mindset. They use the word crisis continually. And I made a decision over 10 years ago now to stop watching the news, which my mum is absolutely, she just thinks it's a disgrace. But I don't watch the news. I didn't watch it at all in COVID because most of my patients would tell me what was going on and when I needed to listen to an announcement. But I don't watch the news for the reason that they can create a huge fear-based mindset for me, and I can start panicking about the steps that I need to take, the actions that I need to take. I can start focusing on the short term. I can worry about things. But what I want to reassure you about is that inflation rate is primarily due to the excess money that was pumped into our system across the world. £17 trillion created by the central banks during COVID, pumped into our system whilst supply was being constrained. So people couldn't spend the money. So how I like to position this is it's not a crisis. We're not in a crisis. It's a transitional phase back to pre-COVID levels of economic activity. But reassuringly, people's pain, people's problems, the things that you guys can solve do not disappear during a recession, during a crisis. They often get worse. And I want to introduce you to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Now, this is a motivational theory in psychology, goes back into the 1970s. And what this motivational theory suggests is that people's needs need to be met lower down the hierarchy. They've got to be satisfied before they can attend to the needs higher up. So people can't think about confidence and achievements and respect of others and connections and love and belongings unless they have their physiological needs met. It makes complete sense, doesn't it? People need air, food, water, shelter, clothing, and sleep. But safety and security is the next tier. And in safety and security, we've got health, we've got employment, we've got property, we've got family, we've got stability. And the reason that I wanted to show you this is because we as health and wellness practitioners are the second tier of needs for people. So what we saw in the UK, and give me a thumbs up in the chat if you've seen this in Canada and in America, around September and October, we were being told by the media that basically the world was going to end because we are in a huge energy crisis, a lot to do with the war in Ukraine, and all of our heating and gas bills, electric bills were absolutely skyrocketing. Now, they hadn't actually kicked in at that point because in the UK, believe it or not, we do get occasional sunshine. So we were still kind of fairly warm. Heating wasn't being put on. So, but the media were telling us we're in a crisis. Nobody's going to be able to afford to do anything. So in September and October, we actually saw a downturn of turnover revenue within our clinics across the whole of the country. We thought, why is this happening? Why is this happening? And this is because people were needing to make sure their physiological needs were being met first. They needed to make sure that they had the money to have food, buy food and have heating and heat their homes and look after their kind of shelter. And then in November, right bang when we will get our cold periods, so when we all turn our heating on more and we see our bills increasing, we got a boom. We saw loads more people coming through the clinic. And that's because what happened is people had their physiological needs met. They all thought, actually, it's not as bad as the media made out. So their next needs, the next hierarchy, was their health. And that's why I think we've seen a big pickup in November, December, and January, because actually things haven't been as bad as the media led us to believe. So I want you to feel re-inspired. I want you to feel reassured that people's pains and problems don't go away. And actually, we are the second hierarchy of needs. Okay, we are in that category. So people, when we saw in COVID supply being constrained, and we all saw, I'm sure you will agree, a boom coming out of COVID, that's because people's motivation to get their needs met grow when they're being restrained. So that's why we saw this big boom. But I'm sure you will agree, we are in the UK, patients that we are seeing in the clinic, we are seeing a lot of people living in their fight or flight response. Adrenaline and cortisol are running the show over here. Okay, the media are doing a great job of making that happen, but illness, disease, pain, injury, all made worse when people are living in their stress response, living in their sympathetic nervous system is running the show. You guys know so much more about it than probably I do. So if people are living in this stress response, people are going to need us even more. Okay, so we are in fact in one of the best industries right now, despite what the media are telling us about being in a recession or in a crisis. People need us more than ever, but we must remain consistent. We must remain visible. We must deliver high on value, and we must lead from the front. But when we are in a fear-based mindset and we are anxious and we are worried about what we are hearing and what we are seeing as well, it can be hard to be consistent. It can be hard to be visible. It can be hard to deliver high value, and it can be hard always to lead from the front as the business owner. So you're here for 7 steps. Step 1, know your numbers. Now, many of you give me, pop something in the chat if this is you. How many of you analyze your numbers week in, week out consistently? I'd be really interested to know. Jamie, yes, sometimes, yeah, you do, yeah. Oh God, guys, you've got amazing. Tessa, not me. Sometimes, no, but you want to start. Yes, no, Jake, every day. Wow, amazing. Never. Okay, great. I love the honesty here, because there's no judgment. Okay, my job here is to just hopefully improve things a little bit. Laura, at least every 2 weeks, great. Okay. It is so important when we are going through recession, crisis, whatever we want to call it, okay, this time, that you are absolutely clear on your numbers, okay, for loads of reasons. Cash is king, okay? Cash is king when we are going through a recession or a crisis. We have to prioritize profit over growth. Now, it doesn't mean that we can't grow in a recession. We're aiming to grow again in this recession. But we are absolutely ensuring that we are prioritizing our profit over growth. We need to be absolutely clear what areas of your business. So I know we've got some chiropractors, we've got some physios, we've got some multidisciplinary clinics. You need to be really clear what areas of your business have the best margins. And if you don't know that, go and find that out. How much does it cost for you to see every patient that walks in through the door? Because when you know that, and you know actually what your margin is that you're making, you will notice right now that particularly we are seeing this in the UK, our margins are being squeezed and squeezed and squeezed and squeezed and squeezed, because the cost of delivery is going up, and we are having people are demanding more money. Our cost of living wage, our base wage, has jumped up 9%, or it's jumping up 9% in April. Crazy. So when we understand our numbers, and we know exactly for every patient that comes through the door, every customer that comes through the door, we know what margin we're making. Some of your areas of your business will make higher margin than the others. So it's important to prioritize those in terms of your marketing and your areas of growth, rather than throw lots of marketing energy time at things that are making smaller margins. And when you know your margins, you then can become clear on whether or not you need to put your prices up. Because we see so often, it's the worry of, oh, I don't want to put my prices up, because what if everything's going up, and how are people going to be able to afford our services? And I don't want to be that person that adds another bill for them, or increases something else for them. You have to work out your margins, because for a lot of you, when your margins are being squeezed, you don't have an option of whether you can price rise or you can't. You shouldn't be, as a business owner, as a clinic owner, prepared to absorb all of those increases in costs. Yes, you can absorb some of them, okay? For some people, we can. If you're making big levels of turnover, you've got great margin. But if you know your margins, it might be suggesting then that you are going to have to put a price rise in. And knowing how much you need to how much you need to increase your prices by is dictated by what margins you're making. Because very often when we price rise, we come from a place of fear. We worry about, well, what if I lose, 5% of my patients? And I always say, well, if you put your prices up by 5% of people cannot work with you and you still make the same amount of money. And it leaves all of that space for new people who didn't know your old pricing structure anyway. But I understand it's a worrying time to just throw your prices up. But you've got to be strategic. If you need to price rise, how much do you need to price rise by to ensure that you are still here by the end of 2023? And I often say with price rising, when we don't know our margins, we might do something like, oh, well, I'll just add $1 or £1 to everybody's session. And actually that isn't covering the increase in your costs. And sometimes we do have to rip the plaster off. So cash is king, okay? Hold on to your cash as long as you possibly can. Prioritize profit over growth, but it doesn't mean to say you can't grow. Look at what areas of your business right now are making the best margins. We know in our business, physiotherapy has better margins than massage therapy, okay? One is not worse than the other. It's just what is. It's the charges that we have. It's the way that the UK base their pricing. Can you send the transcript and the recording on this, please? Yeah, we absolutely can. I think it's been recorded and that will all come over to you. But make sure that you know, if you run classes, what margins that you're running your classes at. How many people do you need in a class to be able to break even and make profit? Who does a cash flow forecast? So a cash flow forecast, is the intention to have cash to absorb hits or for something else? Yeah, yes. So, well, it can be either. Cash, quite often when we look at people's accounts, Dara, that we want people to have at least a minimum of 3 months of their operating costs there as a safety net. Okay. Now, most people in our industry are running cash cow businesses. That means people come in, they pay you for the session, they leave. Okay. We in the UK, we have quite a lot of insurance companies that we work for. So we have a delayed payment terms on some of those. So we don't always have cash coming in quite as quick. But you need cash for cash flow reasons. Okay, because you'll often be paying staff or you'll be paying expenses before you've had that money in if you work with insurance companies. It is potentially to absorb hits. We can't predict the economy. Okay, we can only control the controllables. So let me come to this. What would be considered a need to price rise? What if you're not making any money? If you're not covering, absolutely, if you're not covering costs, but if you are finding that you're working and making no profit whatsoever, or you're not taking a wage out of the business, Jake, that's what I would consider a need to price rise on a basic level. Brad, you do cash flow forecasting. Do you include commission employee pay as part of monthly operating costs? Yes, I do. So you can work out your cost of delivery comes usually, so you've got your turnover, you'll then have your cost of delivery, and usually your employee pay and your commission pay will come under that, and then you'll have a gross profit. Then you will have all of your general turnover, your general expenses that are fairly steady, fairly the same, like your rent, your rates, your bills, etc. Because I imagine, Amy, your employee pay can vary depending on how busy they are, how many clients they've seen. So some of you do a cash flow forecast. Now, what a cash flow forecast does is about looking at your prediction for the year ahead. So quite a lot of business owners are very reactive. They just look at the month now and they go, okay, well, let's add everything up that we've done. And then at the end of the month, what we're comparing it to. You need to be predicting what you think you're going to do in your business. And cash flow forecasting is nothing more than a prediction. It's a little bit put the finger in the air. You look back at what you've done before and you can make some predictions about what you're going to do moving forwards. But it also means that you can know your numbers in a tangible way that means something to you. So for example, if I said to you, right, well, my cash flow forecast is predicting that we're going to make $25,000 in February. Okay. That means nothing to me as the business owner in terms of what we actually need to be doing day to day in the clinic. But I can tell you that we need to be doing 100 physio sessions per week. We need to be doing 50 massages per week. We need to be doing 35 women's health sessions per week. And I need 100 people doing a Pilates class. So what I'm actually analysing is that number, because I know that what will fall out is $25,000 or £25,000. So a cash flow forecast is predicting what your expenses are going to do over the next 12 months and how much therefore you need to be making to not only cover those expenses, but make sure that you guys are taking a wage, that you're being able to pay yourselves. And you might want more money left at the end to be able to reinvest in your business, because you are predicting that you're going to grow the business in the next 6 months, or you're going to bring in a new employee and therefore we need some more marketing spend. So trying to come away from just the now and thinking about the future gives you some tangible targets to go towards. I always say to my business manager, if I was stuck on a desert island, what are the key numbers that I need to look at to know my business is doing what it needs to do? And it isn't anything to do with top level turnover. It isn't anything to do with net profit. All she needs to send me is how many physio sessions we've done or doing, and what we've got booked in, how many Pilates classes members we've got in our Pilates classes, how many women's health sessions we're doing, and how many massages. And as long as that graph is close to what the prediction is, I don't need to know any of the numbers. So knowing your numbers in a way that means something to you can be really helpful. So if you guys very simply run a physio clinic and you're predicting that you need to be making 12,000, 15,000, 5,000, take that number and work out how many on average sessions you need to do to hit that number, because then it gives you a target to work towards. So for example, if you're predicting to make $10,000 in your clinic in February, and your average session cost was $50, you need 200 physio sessions this month, 50 a week. So you could literally just have a chart that you're counting and ticking off at a really simple level. Numbers should be simple, they don't need to be overcomplicated. But if you're looking at that, then the money should roll out the bottom. My second tip is to not stop marketing. So one of the things that we saw a lot happening in COVID is that many practices, many clinic owners panicked, and they pulled marketing budget. They pulled what they were spending on marketing. They stopped being so visible. Completely understandably, because we'd never experienced anything like that before. What we did in COVID is we went bigger. We didn't go underneath the rock. We spent more money on marketing. We remained extremely visible, remained extremely consistent. And I think there's a lot of reason why we did so well coming out of the pandemic. But when we are in a place of fear and lack, and we are thinking about, what if all these margins are being reduced, it's costing me more to deliver the service, and maybe people are making decisions on not being able to see us quite as often because of the cost of living is going up. The easy thing is to just pull all your budget, okay? And I would really, really discourage that. I would be very clear about what marketing is working. So I'm going to link this to my step 3, and I'm going to come back to both of these. But you need to be tracking your marketing. What if marketing can't produce visible return on investment? Okay, Ryan, so do you mean that like doing brand awareness means you can't actually say, well, if I am posting on social media, I can't actually say that that is generating that person walking through the door? Is that what you mean? Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Keep listening, Ryan, because it will all make sense to you. If I'm missing any questions, please be reassured I will try and come back to them and pop them in the Q&A if they are something that you really want me to get to. Tracking your marketing. So Ryan, this is a little bit about what we're saying. Some of our marketing, what we do is completely trackable. Okay, we will do something, you will have a flyer promotion, you will have a campaign, that has a barcode or has a QR code or has something that they have to bring into the clinic that you can say, right, that campaign is where that client has come from. So you can track your marketing. If you talk to lots of marketing experts, they say everything is trackable. Okay. Now, I have a different view on this because there's a lot of things that we do in our clinic. This is about brand awareness, that we need to be consistently putting ourselves out there. That doesn't necessarily mean on that next day, somebody's going to walk in the clinic and say, I've just seen your Instagram post, Katie, and I've decided to make an appointment. Because marketing, depending on what book you read, 7 in some books, 17 in other books, people need to see you, let's say between 7 and 17 times before they make that connection of, oh, I need to go and see Katie or Ryan or whoever in their physio clinic. So we can often find, Ryan, that we can't always track everything. Okay, there will be some things that you do. Our social media posting is all about brand awareness. It is not to generate leads. If I need it to generate leads, we need to come up with a completely different strategy. So we use Google very effectively, PPC campaigns and Google AdWords. So we are using a paid way where we can track conversions and we can accurately say, we have spent this much money and this is how much we have made as a result of it. So if you're not asking your clients and your patients as they come through the door, where they heard about you or, how they've got to know about you, start asking them. Because it will start to give you an idea of where and what marketing is effective for you. Because when we are spending on marketing, we want a return on our investment, absolutely. Social media, yes, you might be paying somebody to do it for you, but a lot of us in our businesses are the size that we still need to do our own social media posting. That is an investment in your time. And some of you will do it. Laura, you say you find this is best conversation I have with new patients. Yes, exactly, Laura. Make sure every new patient that comes through the door either ticks a box on your medical form or or however they do it online, and that you look at that monthly. Because I always think you need to rinse and repeat what works, and you need to stop what doesn't work. So Ryan, let me give you another example. If I'm in a position where I'm a really time poor business owner, and I could post something on social media, which I can't track, and I don't really know my return on investment, and I don't think it actually generates that many leads because we don't have this massive following, but we do it for brand awareness. Or I could spend some time on creating we've just done a really effective Facebook group, Facebook challenge, where we've built an audience of 250 people in a week who've done a hook up your pelvic floor 7-day challenge, audience building challenge that we can remarket to, and we've upsold to. Where am I going to spend my time as a time poor business owner? So I'm not going to prioritize social media posting because it isn't generating me the leads, as in they're ringing the clinic as a result of it. But this over here generated a huge amount of revenue and leads for our business. So Ryan, I guess the answer is track what you can absolutely track. Decide what you're doing because of brand awareness and be consistent, but understand that it's purely there for brand awareness, not necessarily to drive leads through the door. So don't stop marketing. Be bold, put yourself out there. Remember, people still need you more than ever, but try and track everything that comes in through the door at a minimum, and really look at that on a regular basis to see where you can push more money because it's working, and where you actually think, do you know what, it's taking too much of my time, it's taking too much of my energy, and I'm going to push that to one side. Be strategic, as I've said. We need a multi-layered visibility strategy. What a fab word. So what this means is that very often business owners, certainly pre-COVID, I was this person as well. 8 years ago, my business predominantly grew through word of mouth. I was a great physio. People came to me because they liked me, and we grew on that. We grew sort of organically. But we've got more, there's a lot more choice now. There's a lot more people that want instant gratification. They want to go online and book and see you on that same day. So we need to be able to have this multi-layered strategy where we've got lots of different things working for us at any one time. I always feel very anxious when people solely rely on social media as their lead generating strategy, because you don't own any of that. That can be turned off, okay? Email database, email marketing is not dead. It still works incredibly well. You own that data, those emails are yours. So wherever you can, make sure you're collecting that data so that you've got it. But having a multi-layered strategy is about offline and online, and having taps that you can turn on and off whenever you need more clients through the door. So it's trying to not have all your eggs in one basket. Track every inquiry, I've said that before. Every booking you get, let's look at where they're coming from. It's really important to know who you're targeting. What we often see as clinic owners, business owners, we're trying to be everything to everybody, and actually you're nothing to nobody. People need to see you as the expert in solving a certain problem. Now, for those of us who've multidisciplinary clinics, I have one of those, you absolutely can solve lots of different problems, but you need to make sure in your marketing, you're being very specific. So we will have different marketing campaigns for all of the different aspects of our business and the different problems that we solve within those different elements of the business. Because somebody who is an athlete with an ACL rupture has a different conversation in their head to somebody who is a 55-year-old male with mechanical lower back pain. Okay, so really being clear about who it is you're targeting, what problems you can solve, and think about it from the conversation in the client's head rather than in our head. Because then you're going to create impactful marketing then. You're going to stop people in their tracks. Knowing how many people you need to hit your goal. So if I said to you now, well, how many more patients do you need to hit your forecast? So first of all, you need the forecast. But when you are in a position in your business that you might want to get somebody who can do your marketing, who you can outsource your digital marketing to, you've got to be able to tell them how many people you're looking to drive in through that campaign and how much you're prepared to spend on that campaign. We see so many business owners just chucking money into campaigns and onto Google Ads and trying to do it themselves. And it's a complete waste, because not only do they not know how many people they're trying to get, they don't know their average client value. That is on average how much, and you can do this in two ways. You can look in a year how much that client would on average spend with you, or you can do it as a lifetime. I like to do it as a year because I think clients come back quite cyclically. But how much, if somebody comes in to see you for an initial assessment, first with a new patient, how many follow-ups do you on average do within your clinic? And you can very simply take 20 clients over the past 3 months and just work it out on average. Okay, you don't need to be really specific. But when you know your average client value, you can think, okay, well, if it's going to cost me £20 or dollars to get that client through the door, but on average, I know that on average, the client will spend $450. Am I prepared to spend 20 to get them in the first place? Yes. That's a fantastic return on investment. So those are the key numbers and the key metrics that you need to have when you're trying to get more people through the door, whether it's you doing it or whether you're going to get a digital marketing company or a marketing company to work with you. And Ryan, as I said before, just planning where your time is best spent, because there's so many things you could be doing. But when we're time poor business owners, we need to know what works, we need to know what's not working, and we need to can that and keep rinse and repeating the stuff that does work. So my fourth step is to be able to adapt. And we saw this in COVID, didn't we? We all adapted really quickly. We went online within 24 hours we have a big Pilates set up within our clinic. Within 24 hours, we were fully online. Okay. Coming out of COVID, we've forgotten that we can adapt so quickly. So business owners, you have got, most of you run face-to-face, bricks and mortar, as we call it, businesses. Okay, you run businesses in local communities, and many of us have diversified and we've adapted and we've started bringing in new online programs and new ways of working with people. But all I want to say is don't forget that stuff. don't think, oh, we're out of code now, it's done. You can adapt. So I'm just going to give you some examples because I thought that would be helpful. So we have a women's health section, department, service within our business, and we saw a huge need. So in the NHS in the UK, people are waiting up to 2 years to get knee replacements. People are waiting ages to get seen. And there's a massive demand for mums who have just had babies who are not having any support, not getting any support whatsoever. Now, we're also in a recession, so everybody thinks that they can't afford to do anything. So what we looked at is, oh, well, how can we service those mums who perhaps are on maternity leave and have their wage reduced, or feel like they're not in a position to invest in themselves as much as they would normally like to, but they are massively lacking support. So we developed a 0 to 6 week online postnatal program for new mums. So what that meant is that when we had inquiries and people thought, oh, I don't know if I can afford to come in to your clinic and see your women's health specialist and pay $100, $150 to see them, we've got something else that we could offer them. We adapted because we saw our Pilates members. We have 400 people a week do Pilates with us. And we thought, okay, these people like us, know us and trust us. They're the ones that are likely to spend more money with us. But people are worried and anxious about spending and committing on a longer term basis. So we thought, well, a lot of them do 1 class a week. How can we get them doing 2 classes a week? But people don't want to commit for 12 months, which is what our membership packages are. So we looked at doing a second class, bolt on, for a shorter term commitment. It essentially cost me £0 in marketing because we already have those clients. But we offered a shorter term commitment and we got people doing a second class. So we increased our revenue, improved our margins because the classes were already running. We just added people to them. But what it doesn't mean is that you need to discount. It doesn't mean you need to give away free stuff. And it doesn't mean you need to jump on all the Black Friday offers and give away your services for half price or less. Because your time is worth money and we only have a limited amount of time. But I'm going to caveat this with, unless your cash flow needs it right now. If you are in a position in your business right now that you absolutely need cash to be able to continue, then I'm okay with discounts and I'm okay with Black Friday offers and I'm okay with certain things that you need to do right now for survival. But try and make sure that it's short term, it's small, because if you do give away discounts or offers or packages at a reduced rate, you've got to remember that that income that you're going to get right now has got to last however long that package lasts for. Okay, so just be wary about giving away lots of your services for a discounted price. Okay, it often attracts the wrong type of client. And you don't want those in your clinic. You want people that really value what you're going to deliver. My 5th step is to invest in your client relationships. So many of you have wonderful businesses and communities of people that come in and see you. If you're anything like me, I've got clients that have been seeing me for 13 years now. I saw a lady today who has been a client of mine for 13 years, which made me feel ridiculously old. But investing in client relationships is so key, particularly when we're in a crisis. 80% of your income, if you've heard of the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule, 80% of your income will often come from 20% of your clients. 80% of your income will often come from 20% of your marketing activities. If you haven't read the book 80-20 principle, do it. It's great. It's amazing. But we need to recognize and we need to nurture our loyal clients. Connection is key. Nobody had any connection in COVID. Okay, it was all taken away from us. And adults like to be in communities in cohorts. So some of the things that we've done in our business that I thought I would share with you. These are some of our fabulous clients. We have recognized some of our loyal members. So we have recognized people who have, we did the most improved, we did nominations for the most improved Pilates member of 2022. and then we have drawn the winner. We did International Men's Health Day, I think it was, in November. We recognised all of our male clients in the clinic. So as they came through, they all got, you can see these gift bags. Those are my crazy blokes that do Pilates on a Tuesday night. We did a glass with your class before Christmas. So we encourage people to stay around and be in a community, because we want to be something that someone cannot do without. I always say to my team, and we remind ourselves of this, if we had to put a notice on our clinic door tomorrow that said, unfortunately, due to unforeseen circumstances, we are no longer operating, what difference do we make to our community? We are a reoccurring reservation in people's diaries. People have subscriptions to see us. We make a massive hole if we suddenly stop doing what we do. And that keeps us driving forwards, that keeps us growing and developing and wanting to survive and thrive through a economic crisis. So make sure you're something that someone cannot do without. Recognize loyalty, nurture your client relationships, because those people like you, know you, and trust you. New clients cost money, and the cost is going up to acquire those patients. Existing clients like you, they know you, they trust you. Step number 6 is about maintaining perspective. It's really, really easy as a business owner when you are in the mix and you're going through the daily grind to lose that bigger perspective. Okay, we will come out the other side of this. We will cycle round. We will get back to some normal of some form. Keep your decisions firmly anchored in the long term. The temptation is to kind of draw back and pull in and be fearful in our decisions. We need to remain confident, and we need to make decisions from a place of confidence, not from a place of lack. So keep your decisions firmly anchored in the long term. We will come out the other side of this. Step number 7 is, if you are a business owner, you're the clinic owner listening to this, stay entrepreneurial. You've done it before in COVID, you can do it again, and lead the pack, lead your team. Control the controllables, okay? You approach the recession like any disruption. It's a massive opportunity for you. If you have a team, lead from the front. And I always say, in times like this, your team are the people that are going to allow you to not only just survive, but thrive. So do more with them, spend more time with them as the business owner, give them that time, reassure them. And I put at the bottom, in fact, I don't think I've sworn yet. This is an absolute miracle. But remember, your team are listening to the same as your clients. And I'm going to give you an example of this, that one of my fab sports therapists came into a meeting. We did a CPD lunch club. And he was really flat and he was really low, and that was really unlike him. And I said to him, James, what's going on? Are you okay? And he said, oh, just driven into work and I've had the radio on and the world is literally ending. Have you heard this? Have you seen that in the news? Have you seen this in the news? And I was like, wow. And he said, it's just really worrying, isn't it, about people are not going to be able to afford to see us. And I said, oh, do you actually know that? He's, well, no, that's what the news had just said. And what James recognized is that he was making assumptions on what our patients could afford or could not afford. Okay, and I said, never make any assumptions. We know nothing about their situation, but we have to lead from the front. We have to remain visible, and we have to deliver more value than we've ever delivered. And you also have to protect what you're listening to, because your clients are listening to that. If your team's listening to that, it will affect their performance. And James couldn't believe the kind of the feeling he came into the clinic with. And he said, if I'd not spoke to you, I would have gone into the rest of the day assuming that nobody could afford to work with me. So I would probably have not converted new patients into follow-up appointments. I probably wouldn't have brought people into our packages, because that's what I think they need, but I'd have been afraid to say that because the media are telling us that the world's going to end. So if you have a team, more than ever, lead them from the front. Make sure that you are all rowing on the same boat and the same direction, reading from the same map. Your team need to know where you're going and why it's so important that you stay doing what you do. I said I'd give you 7 tips. I'm going to give you 8. Here is my 8th bonus tip for you. Have a look at this diagram. So in this pie chart, in the red, these are all the things that you realise you don't currently know. So there'll be some things that I've said today that you're like, oh yeah, I don't know how to do a cash flow forecast, or I definitely don't know how to actually work out my average client value, or I don't know what my gross profit margins are. But you don't know them. In the green segment, there's all the things that you realise that you do know. So I'll have said things today that you go, oh, I knew that, I've heard that before. But can you see how small those little pieces of the pie are? And then in the yellow is all the things that you don't realise you don't even know yet. So it's really important that you reach out, you surround yourself with people that are going to inspire you, that motivate you, that are playing a bigger game than you. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. You are your environment is a product of your beliefs, your thoughts, and therefore your actions. So if your current environment, your clinic, your business is not where you want it to be, you need to think about what's going on in here. And one of the things I said is stop watching the news. Just turn off from it. Protect your own mindset. Stop the scroll. Really easy, isn't it, to look at what everybody else is doing and compare ourselves. Stay in your lane, stay doing what you do, but work continually on you, because you will actually be a bigger barrier than this recession. I always say successful business owners, it's often 25% strategy and 75% all to do with your mindset. Jamie, this is fire. I needed to hear this last slide. Yes, good. Okay, stay in your lane. You are the fact that you are spending Tuesday morning listening to me means that you are great and you've got passion for what you do. But stop watching the news, stop listening to it. It's made no difference to me. I run 2 6-figure businesses. I've not watched the news in 10 years. I don't need to. I don't, even on the radio, turn it straight off. Okay, I just choose what I'm prepared to take in, because that affects my thoughts, that affects my beliefs, therefore it dictates my actions. Don't compare yourself to other people. I have a rule that I don't follow any other competitors. I hate that word because I don't really see them as competitors. But on my road in Sheffield, there are 5 other physio clinics. Okay, if I started comparing and scrolling and watching them, I would just constantly be flicking into their lane, comparing myself, imposter syndrome. I would procrastinate. I would be thinking that we're not good enough. I have no clue what any of them doing. I have no clue what any of them charge. So stay in your lane, don't compare. Just bring yourself off all of that stuff that you do compare yourself with. Work continually on you and spend time with people that inspire you. We have a Facebook group. It's a free community where you can come along and be part of. I'm going to pop this next slide on because it's called Treat Your Business. A nice play on words, because we need to treat our businesses like we treat our clients and our patients. So in this Facebook group, okay, it is not a sales place. It's not anything like that. I can't bear any of that. This is a place that is great training, loads of support for health and wellness business owners like you. We have lots of webinars. We have lots of free training that you can access, guides that you can access, resources. I would love you to come and be part of that community. Go onto Facebook, look at Treat Your Business, press follow. There's a few questions that I'll ask you, and then you're going to be part of our community. I also have a podcast called the Treat Your Business Podcast. I would love you to listen. I try and make the episodes short and sweet, 20 minutes, because I know that we are super busy and time poor, but hopefully it gives you those little bite-sized nuggets of information that means you can go away feeling inspired and motivated, because it's really difficult being a business owner. You are often on your own with nobody else to reach out to. So hopefully these 2 areas means that you've got places that you can come to. Thank you for listening. Remember, the road to your success is dotted with a lot of tempting parking spaces, but don't stop. keep going. Thank you, everybody. Right, I'm going to whiz over to the Q&A because I had some things come in. So Dara, we said, is the intention to have cash to absorb hits or for something else? I think I answered that a little bit earlier for you. Daryl, is there a difference between passive marketing in social media and more strategic targeted paid marketing such as advertising? Hopefully this is a clear question. Yeah, so yeah, passive marketing is like organic marketing. So it's just you organically posting, you don't pay for it. I class it as brand awareness. I'm being consistent. I like to think about people being in 3 different lanes. Okay, so we've got fast lane, where people have got a back problem. They've probably been to see a physio, an osteopath, or chiropractor before, and they know exactly what they need to solve that problem, right? So for most of those people, they're just Googling physio near me, and they just find you and they come and see you, right? Then we've got the slow lane people, who are people who've got a back problem, but don't know that physios and osteopaths and chiropractors and Pilates instructors or whatever, or what they need to solve that problem. They just don't know. So our marketing, what I like to go, like our passive marketing, our social content is about education. It's about educating people that might go, oh wait, I've got a back problem and that sounds like what I need. So we can target our slow lane people. And then we've got the sidewalkers, okay, who may or may not have a back problem that they're aware of. Let's say they have it, but their belief is that this is just something that they have to put up with. They don't even know that there is a solution to this. They just think that this is what happens when you get to 50. So for me, passive marketing, social media is about talking to these, educating, creating that high value so that if you're only pushing your services out there, I'm a physio, come and visit me. I do acupuncture and soft tissue massage, and we do Pilates. You're only talking to about 3% of your market, the 3% of your market that already know you're what they need. The other 97% of your market don't know what they need right now, and that means we need to deliver high value in education so that they understand we might be a viable option for them. Strategic targeted paid marketing, Daryl, absolutely. That is me saying to Google, I'm going to pay you X amount of money because you're going to push these ads in front of people that search these keywords, because I know what keywords people are searching for. I'm going to pay Google to do that, and then I get a return on my investment. So I would say, Daryl, you absolutely need to be doing both. If you want clients quickly in your clinic, don't rely on organic growth. Don't rely on just kind of that brand awareness posting. You won't get enough quickly. You want to be looking at paid marketing. Daryl, hopefully that answers your question. Danielle, would you count a front desk employee as part of the marketing cost? No, I probably wouldn't. That would be a cost of our like an admin expenditure for us. It would be a staff cost. If they are doing a lot of marketing, then yes, you can categorize them in the marketing bracket in your expenditure. But I probably wouldn't count them as a front desk employee. A really good front desk employee will make you their wage back, because they will be people that you can train to upsell, to cross-sell, to pick up cancellations quickly, to ring people when they've inquired quickly. So a good front desk employee, I would say, can nurture those inquiries, but I wouldn't say they're in charge of marketing and bringing those people through the door in the first place. Does that answer your question, Danielle? Dara, that is a question for Jane, I think. Okay, I can stay around for a few more minutes, so if anybody has any more questions, please feel free to pop them over. Daryl, forgot to send it directly. Thank you, Katie. Yeah, no problem. I'm glad I've answered your question. The link to the Facebook group is in the chat. Thank you very much, Destin, for posting that. I would love to see you over there. And if you've got questions that you think about after this webinar, come and ask them in the Facebook group. That's what I'm there for. I will absolutely love to answer them. But yeah, I guess that's everything from me, guys. So please ask away if you've got anything else that you would like help with today. Kyle, thank you very much for joining us, Kyle.
Well, that was so great. Thank you so much, Katie. That was fantastic. So everyone, do please join Katie's group. You can ask any additional questions you might have there. I'm just going to share my screen one more time with a few more links for you as well. So you can scan these QR codes. There's links to Katie's website as well as her Instagram, where she posts a lot of great content as well. So do connect on there. And then also, I think the link got posted as well, but we would love to invite you to join the Jane community group as well if you're not on there. Same as Katie said, there's a couple questions we ask you to answer before you join the group. So just wait a couple seconds after you click a join because it does take a few minutes for them to pop up. And then come there and you can continue the conversation there as well with other Jane community members.